Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to everyone. Today we're going to discuss the SPE 2016 science. As usual, the paper is 2 hours and make sure to read all the instruction, to write down your name, your class and the school in the boxes provided. And make sure you answer all the questions in section A and section B. There is no choice for this paper. You also need to answer in dark blue or black ink in the question paper. Make sure you read each of the question carefully and underline or circle keywords where you can find. Marks is given at the end of the bracket and the total paper is 100. So let's go. In section A, as usual, is the multiple choice question. So make sure you choose the best answer or completion of the sentence for each question. Let's look at number 1. Most car batteries contain acids which are corrosive. So from that, you can see the keywords acids, or more important, corrosive. Which of the following symbols should be shown on car batteries? So acid and corrosive. Corrosive means it will corrode your hand or it will melt any object, it will eat the object. And if you look there, this liquid here, it's eating the metal or it's eating the hand. So the answer is actually B. But just to double confirm A, you can see that this is an object and it explodes. So this is explosive. D, you can see the flame there making fire. So this is what we call as flammable. And C, every time you look at the skull, it means it's dangerous, and we use the word toxic to define this symbol. Okay, so the answer is B, corrosive. Number 2, okay, don't forget to write down your answer. Number 2, study figure 1A and figure 1B carefully. So that's a paper and then you have a card here. The very first thing you should do is find the area for this one card. So area for one card is 5 times 5, which is equal to 25. cm times cm is equal to cm square. Don't forget. And then Hazira need 9 cards in figure 1A to cover the area of the paper in figure 1B. What is the area of the paper? So you have already figured out the area of one paper, and then she said you need 9. Just double confirm 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Therefore, since one area is 25, 9 cards is equal to times by 25 cubic square centimeter. You will get. Use calculator, don't try to calculate by yourself to avoid careless mistake. And by using calculator, my answer is 25 times 9 equal to 225 square centimeter. Therefore, the answer is C. There you go. Number 3. Figure 2 below shows a method to determine the volume of an irregular stone. What is the volume of the stone? So if you look at the first one, this is what we say initial, mean at the very beginning. At the very beginning, you can only see water or liquid only. And then the second one, you can see stone added, which means this is the final volume. And if you look there, the initial volume is 50 cubic centimeter and the final volume is 80 cubic centimeter. Therefore, to find the volume is basically volume is equal to the final volume that you have with the stone minus the initial volume without the stone, and you will get the answer 80 cubic centimeter. Cubic is for volume minus 50 cubic centimeter, and you will get 30 cubic centimeter. Therefore, B. The thing about science is that you just have to answer the question step by step, and you will get the answer at the end. Number 4, study the diagram in figure 3. You have object P, which is one object, and another object, object Q. And if you look at the size of these two objects, you can see that P is smaller than Q. You can just take note, small and larger. Which of the following correctly describe the mass, volume, and density of object P and Q? The first one says mass of object P and Q. You can see that from the electronic balance. So this device is called electronic balance. And electronic balance help to check the mass. And you can see that both the mass of object is 250 gram. Therefore, they are similar. So if you look at the choice, only C and D mention that both of them are the same. So you can eliminate A, eliminate B. Now, between C and D, when we talk about the volume of object, we talk about the shape or the size. In this case, you can see that both of them have the same shape, which is cube. And you can see that object P is smaller than object Q. Therefore, the volume are different. That's why it's different. And the third one, density. Density is equal to mass over volume. So if the mass is the same and the volume is different, the final answer should be different. If you use a number, let's say if the mass is 1, let's say this one is for the smaller cube, and we set another one for the bigger cube, and both of them have the same mass, and then the volume is this one is smaller, this one is bigger, you will see that at the end this answer, the density, is not gonna be the same. It's gonna be different. Unless the mass is the same, the volume is the same, then the density will be the same. But since in this case the mass and the volume is different, the density will also be different. Therefore, the answer is C. Number 5. Figure 4 shows the level of mercury in the thermometer. So mercury is special because mercury is a molten liquid. So usually for normal liquid in a thermometer, we will read the reading below meniscus. So if alcohol, we read them below meniscus. But since this one it's above meniscus, it will be, you just count, you have 60 and 50 here, and in between you have 1 2 3 4 5. So let's just double check. 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60. Write down the number to avoid carelessness. And you get 60. And the line above meniscus is 56 degree Celsius. Therefore, the answer is C. This type of question tests whether you're careless or not. That's all. So try not to be careless. Always make the line. Always make all the number required so that it's easier when you check later on as well. Okay. So again, for alcohol, it will be below meniscus. For mercury, above meniscus. Other than alcohol, this one is also applicable for other liquid. Number 6, study the diagram in figure 7. And then if you look at the diagram in day 1, you can see the trees is going upwards, no problem, normal. And 3 days later, what happened is that the trees become bended and it's going outside. And there is one important key hint here. It is the sun. It's the constant variable, one of the constant variable. Which of the following best describe the characteristics of living things shown in figure 7? A. Living things can move. B. Living things reproduce. C. Living things grow from young to adult. D. Living things need water to stay alive. Now let's eliminate the bad choice first. If you look here, there's no fruits, there's no seeds or whatsoever, so it's not talking about reproduction, so B is eliminated. And then you can see also it's only 3 days, and the plants doesn't shows any different in size, therefore it's not about growing as well. If we want to see from young to adult stage, it will be from seedlings or from seeds, then to bigger plants. Then living water need water to stay alive. So in here, it's not really about water. Water is not being shown here anywhere in diagram, so D is also out. And you can see last one, the plants is actually moving towards the hole. Therefore, it's A. Another thing that you can write down is also it's respond to stimuli, because if you look there uh, in the diagram you can see that it's moving towards the sun, it's trying to get food, so it's responding to the sun which is outside and it moves slowly there, but it takes time, it doesn't move instantly like other living things. Plant does move slowly. Right, number 7. Saiful set up an experiment in figure 6 to find out if material A, which is paper towel, absorb more water than material B. So this experiment is to see which one absorb more water. And you have two towels, A and B. One is paper, one is cloth. He listed all the variables that will affect his experiment below. Variables number 1, the amount of time the towel is placed in a beaker. So the first one is about time. Number 2, the size of the towel. Number 3, the thickness of the towel. Number 4, the type. And number 5, the volume. Which of the following is the correct choice to ensure his experiment is a fair test? So in order for the experiment to be fair, it means that all variables, if you look there is altogether 5 variables, should be constant. What it means is that you're testing only the differences between paper and cloth, which means that these two things are different material. One is a paper, one is a cloth. The rest are the same. The beaker must be of the same size. The water must be the same as well. The size of the towel, both of them must be the same. And the thickness must also be the same. Anytime any of these variables are changed, for example, you're using more water in one and less water in here, it's no longer will be fair. If you use smaller towel for B and bigger towel for A, it's no longer fair. So in order for it to be fair, all of it must be the same except one thing, which is this one. The material must not be the same. And if you look at the choice, the type of material the cloth is made of is number 4. So only number 4 is changed. And if we look at the choice in the table, only D mentioned number 4. The rest of the variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 must be the Sam. Only that way it will be fair. Okay, hopefully you understand so far, and let's continue. Number 8. Lydia did a scientific investigation on diffusion in solids. Figure 5 shows the steps she took to carry out her investigation. The steps are not in order. So, emphasis here is scientific investigation, and second one on diffusion. So, if you have to know the step of scientific investigation, and if you don't remember, you can actually go to your textbook, and it's the last part of chapter 1, scientific investigation. So have a look. You can have a look at page 28, and you can see that this one is about scientific investigation. Altogether, there is 7 steps that you need to remember. So ask a question, formulate a hypothesis, plan an experiment, conduct your experiment, process the data from experiment, evaluate your result, and share your findings. Sometime in exam they will not show you all the steps, but the sequence are still similar. So let's have a look at the question, and the very first thing should be ask a question. And if you look there, this one is the first choice. Ask a question. So this is number 1. Does diffusion take place? And number 2, you need to formulate a hypothesis. So this is number 2. Hypothesis means what do you think is the reason it happens? For example, in this one, I think the copper sulfate will diffuse in jelly. Another hypothesis could be, I don't think the copper sulfate will diffuse in the jelly. A different set of hypotheses is that I think the copper sulfate will diffuse, but it will take a long time. So there are many hypotheses. Hypothesis means idea of the possible things that could happen. Okay, after you have the idea, then you start to make the experiment. So from the experiment you have to figure out what do you want to do. For this case, these are the things, what are the materials they need, what is the step, and so on. It's not a simple step. It will take time to plan and conduct your experiment. And after uh, you have created the experiment, then you start to process the data from an experiment. It means that you have asked a question, you have created hypothesis, you have do experiment, and during the experiment you will collect data. And once you have collected the data, you need to share your findings. This one is to say what you have figured out. For example, in this experiment, the blue copper sulfate is slowly spread until here, and then the result is that it takes 1 week, and then the hypothesis just now was that it will diffuse, therefore it says it's right. And the conclusion is diffusion does take place in solid, except it takes a long time. Therefore, if you look at this one, the step is number 1, number 4. Let's look at the choice, number 1, number 4, and if you look at the choice, only D provide the best choice. Therefore the answer is D. Next one, number 9. Table 1 describes the physical features of 4 different animals, P, Q, R, and S. Which of the following chart best represent the animals in table 1? So let's look at their characteristic one by one. So the first characteristic is whether it has legs or not. So only P and Q have leg, and R and S do not have leg. So if you look at the choice, the one that have leg, yes, should be P and Q, which means it's at the end there. P and Q, P and Q, and then this one P and R. So this one is already out. Second one is about fur, and then between P and Q, only P has fur, And if we look at the choice, P have leg, yes. P have fur, yes. Q no fur, so that one is correct. P has leg and P has fur. Q has leg, Q has no fur. Then let's look again. This one is wrong because P is the one that have fur, so C is out again. This one is correct. This one is also correct. So the choice is now between A and B. So between R and S, both of them do not have fur, both of them do not have legs. So the main differences is that R have feathers. So let's have a look. Have feather R? Yes. B? No. So this one is not correct. Therefore, your best answer in this case is A. So you have to spend quite a bit of time by referring to the table and check what is the final answer. Therefore, the answer is A. Next one, question number 10. Study the leaves in figure 8. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different leaves. All of them have different shape and sizes, but some of them are slightly similar. Which of the following leaves can be classified under the same group? Under the same group means it has to have at least one similar characteristic, at least one. And based on this one, you have to look at the shape. Two of them have very similar shape. If you look at maple leaves and papaya leaves, both of them have this thorny shape that look like that. Same with this one. The difference is only the way, only the design, but they have similarities of 7 and 1 could be considered as one group. And let's look at the choice. Which one has 7 and 1? 7 and 1, and this one have 7 and 1, and I believe this is the answer. Let's just double check. The second one is group 2 and 4. And if you look at 2, is it 2 and 4? 2 and 4, they're slightly similar, and in actuality you can also include this one because they are also similar shape, but since the choice is limited, therefore your answer is 2 and 4. It can be accepted, therefore the answer is B. Let's just double check. The first one, A, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is totally different, so this one is out. 2 and 4, 2 and 4, that one is accepted. But let's look at the choice, second choice, 6 and 7. 6 and 7 is totally different from each other, so that one is out. And 3 and 5. 3 and 5. Okay, let's look at the second choice. 4 and 7. 4 and 7 is totally different again, therefore it's out. Therefore, yes, you can confirm that the best choice for this question is B. Question 11. Ida observed organism X, Y, and Z found in her garden. She recorded her observation in table 2. X has 6 legs, Y has 8 legs, Z has many legs. Which of the following is the correct classification for the group of organism X, Y, and Z? Now, I've already mentioned in this chapter classification that if the animal has 6 legs, the spelling will also have 6 letters. So this is my method to remember it. So if you look there, insect is insect is six leg, six letter. At leg is let's see, arthropod. Arthropod. No, it's not arthropod. um what's that? Let's double check in your book topic classification, which is this one, and you have insect, six letter, and then arachnid is the second one. So Arachnid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letter, and M, many legs. We just write it down as myriapod. M being many, myriapod. Since many, include S and N. And if you look at the choice, X is insect. This is the possible choice. And Y is arachnid, as I mentioned. And third one is many leg, therefore it's C. And the group for these three, the main group for these three that have different set of leg is called arthropod. Let me try again. So arthropods, and the specialty about this thing is that they have hard exoskeleton. If you look inside your textbook, so insects such as ant, arachnids such as scorpion, myriapod such as centipede, they have body armor that make them hard. That's why if you try to step on them, they will not be squished easily. So these three are under arthropods. In comparison, you have annelids and mollusks. So annelids has cylindrical body, and most of the time they are worm, while mollusks are organisms such as snail. They are usually soft-bodied and have shell. Therefore, the answer is again is C. Number 12. Aziza left a bottle of water outside her house before 9. Salah. Aziza left a bottle of water outside her house. Figure 9 shows what happened to the volume of water at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and 7 p.m. So 7 a.m. in morning, plus a.m., 12 p.m. in afternoon, and 7 p.m. In night already. So she checked the volume of the water, and then as you can see, the water level goes down. Why is the volume of the water decreasing from 7 to 7 p.m.? Okay, so if you look at this water, it's a bit confusing because we didn't know whether it's open or not. But let's assume that it's open, means that it's possible for the water to escape. And since it's outside, what happened is that these water particles on the surface will start to get heated because there is no other source of heat, and only the surface will have enough energy to go away. And what happens is that the particle will change from liquid to gas, and once it changes to gas, it will start to go away. So if you look at the choice, water particle near the surface, so all of them have the same information at the beginning, so all of them are possible. And evaporate to form water vapor, that statement is correct. To form ice is not correct. And condense means change from gas to liquid, therefore that's not correct as well. And D is again heat energy, and condense to form, so again condense means gas to liquid, therefore it's not possible because it's actually the water actually goes away instead of becoming a liquid. Therefore the only possible choice is A. All right, let's go. Two more questions. After that, we're done for this session. Number 13. Carbon dioxide dissolve in water to make carbonated rings. So carbonated ring is the one that make fizzy drink basically. Fizzy soft drink. Which of the following correctly describe water and carbon dioxide? Now, you need to remember the meaning of this term. A solute and a solvent. A solvent, liquid that dissolve. Or while a solute is a substance that dissolve in solvent. So with those information, uh, actually I think I've written the answer. So carbon dioxide is the substance that dissolves in the solvent. It can be in the form of solid or the gas, while water is the solvent is the liquid that dissolves. So in this case, for fizzy drink, water is the solvent and carbon dioxide is the gas that dissolve in the solvent. Therefore, the answer is A. So I got the answer by chance. But that's the thing. If you have the basic, you should be able to answer this question immediately. But always, my advice is always write down anything that you remember into the choices. The reason why you do this is because you have 2 hours and it's usually more than enough for you to write down all these points. Okay, number 14. Which of the following apparatus are used to separate salt from water? So salt is soluble. And if you add salt into water, it will become, okay, God forbid, give me a second. If you add salt into water, you will have salt solution. Oops. And if you have salt solution, you need to make sure to remove the water in order to get the salt back. And in order to do this, you need to evaporate the water. And looking at the apparatus, the one that you need to have is these three things. 1, 2, 3. You will need to set it up like this: a tripod stand. No, no, not yeah, tripod stand. Then you need to put the wire gauze, and you need to put the evaporating dish. And once you add heat, all the salt solution will start to be heated up and all the water will evaporate and you can get the salt back. And therefore the answer is 2, 3, and 5. Okay, there's more. So I forgot about the Bunsen burner. So the choice is 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Oops, that's all for the first session. Thank you. And let's discuss the next one after this. All right, bye.